Participants of the refresher course, I welcome our resource person for this session, Professor Virendra Pal Singh of Center of Globalization and Developmental Studies, University of Allahabad. He had also spoken to us yesterday, and the fellow participant who introduced him informed us about his eminence. We are delighted to have you again, sir. May you now take the time to enrich us on the topic, New Social Media and Emerging Pattern of Social Movements. Thank you.
Thank you for introducing me to the. Okay, yes. Thank you for introducing me to the participants of the refresher course. Although yesterday we had a very wonderful session uh, on a related theme, and I think that today's session is in continuation of where I have left yesterday, because it has emerged from the discussion that the new communication technologies have to play are playing an important role in the social movements. Today I will elaborate this dimension uh, at a length, and the topic which was given to me was new social media and emerging patterns of social movements. So now, at the very outset, I would like to clarify that we cannot say new social media. There are two terms which are perhaps mixed here, and that I will clarify. The one term is new media, and the other term is social media. So let me first clarify that what is social media, and what is new media, and what is mass media communication. These are the three terms which are used in academics, and particularly in the field of mass communication, which is now an independent discipline, but it has to be taken into account that the roots of the mass communication studies are in the sociology. Particularly about 100 years ago in Chicago University, which is today called Chicago School in Communication Study, it was a famous American sociologist, Robert Park, who initiated studies of news, journalism, and urban life, and how the media has affecting the life and attitude of the people. So Chicago School was dominated by a number of interactionist sociologists, uh, and particularly Charles Hurton Cooley and Herbert Mead, and later their student Herbert Blumer, and many others were engaged in this kind of studies. So Chicago School was very influential in promoting the communication studies. I am not going in the background of that, but when we talk of social media, I think it requires some sociological analysis at conceptual level. Most of the theorists in communication field of mass communication have been sociologists. The latest, the Dennis McQuell, was a sociologist by training, and he has contributed a lot to mass communication theory. And like Wilbur Schramm, Daniel Lerner, all were sociologists who emphasized on the role of communication in modernization and development. Let me first clarify what do we mean by new communication technologies. We can new communication technologies such as satellites through satellite communication. There are communication satellites, and INSAT B was one of the very important satellite which was launched by India in the space, and which makes the facilitate the communication in the country. And after that, India has launched many satellites, and it is a continuous process. So this satellite technology or satellites have facilitated the 24/7 telecast or transmission of the message all over the world. So this has facilitated the internet also, and internet cannot be, it is the satellite technology which helps in connecting the computers through internet. Then cable television was another important development in this field. Wireless telephony, internet, now we have mobile phones, this is wireless telephony. Internet and computers are bringing about noticeable changes in contemporary societies. According to Singhal and Rogers, communication technology includes the hardware equipment, organizational structures, and social values by which individuals collect, process, and exchange information. So, communication technology is used for collecting information, processing information, and exchange this information among the masses. And it requires some hardware equipment. So if you are not having that equipment, you cannot you cannot get the information through communication technology. The new communication technologies have certain characteristics that are similar in some respect to those of both interpersonal communication and mass media communication, but are different in many other respects. Traditional societies were largely dependent on interpersonal communication. If we go back, so we find that traditional communication system was based on interpersonal communication, that is face-to-face communication. Although some sort of folk media were also in existence, but they were also mostly not using very highly technological devices, but simple devices like drum beating or making sound by some persons. So folk media was also there, and maybe that some institutions were also working or facilitating the communication process, like activities in the temple like kirtan, bhajan, and the visiting in a crowded place like bazaar, where the people do not they were not going to purchase the things, but they were also exchanging the information interpersonally through interpersonal communication to the persons to whom they know, and from there, through the word of mouth, the information was disseminated in the wider society. It consists of interpersonal communication, consists of face-to-face exchange between two or more individuals. The message flow is from one to a few individuals. Feedback is immediate. So in case of traditional communication, because it is face to face, so feedback comes immediately. That is reaction of the receiver. Get you get can get immediately. In face to face communication, immediately you will get the answer. And usually plentiful, and messages are often relatively high in socio emotional content. So messages were transmitted with some emotional contents. And you know that when you go and attend personally, for example, हाँ, ये दरवाजा बंद कर दीजिए. When you attend some katha, some kirtan, or some other activity, in that activity, communication is done with some emotional contents, emotional appeal, and in that sense, it becomes a very effective communication. So in India, still we have that traditional media that is in form of but that is also transformed, and some electronic devices are being used. And this kind of use, when you are using traditional media and also modern equipment, it is called media mix. In contrast, a modern society has a well integrated system of interpersonal communication and modern mass media communication that includes all those means of transmitting messages that enable a source of one or a few individuals to reach a large audience. Some type of hardware equipment is always involved in modern mass media communication. Feedback is limited and delayed, and the messages are often relatively low in socio emotional content. It is not that they are not contrary or contradictory of each other. In modern mass media communication system, there is interpersonal communication also, but largely communications are made to address a larger audience located at distant places. So some hardware or some technological device is used for the purpose of communication, and feedback is limited. It is almost one way transmission of messages, and they are delayed. Feedback is delayed. You will get some feedback, but it is not immediately but delayed. Maybe through some letters to the editor, or letter to the related to some program can be there. The messages are often relatively low in socio-emotional content. Here you will see that socio-emotional content are not much in this kind of communication. The evolution of mass media can be seen over a period of time, from the invention of the printing press, initially in China, but it became popular in 1440 when Gutenberg successfully invented a printing machine and printed his first book, Gutenberg Bible, in the year 1452. So it was in the 15th century that modern media of mass communication have emerged. And from 15th century, now we have 21st century. So about 6 centuries, we have seen the growth of mass media communication, and this is one of the important characteristics of the modern society. So when we talk of mass media communication, it is related with the evolution of the modern society in the West and later on in other parts of the world. So we should see this in this context. So before I discuss the new media or the social media, let me briefly explain or describe that how the mass media uh, have developed over a over a span of about 6 centuries. The press came into existence. This innovation makes the process of mass communication easier, and it continues to be an important form of modern mass media communication. Although a number of technological innovations facilitated the process of printing and publishing, apart from poster, pamphlets, etc., the notion of the press came into existence with the publication of the first newspaper, that is, Relation, in 1605. So, printing of the pamphlet and posters, etc., and of books is started in 15th century, but it was in the beginning of 17th century that the newspaper started to publish, and first newspaper was published in 1605, and it was printed and distributed at Strasbourg, that is in Germany. The loudspeaker, another innovation, was the first device of broadcasting media which helped in amplifying the sound, came into existence in 1929. This was used for multi-purposes, from public speech to popularizing the cinema. And this is an important part of all audiovisual media. Without a speaker is very necessary to amplify the sound by the received by the machine. Cinema, although emerged in 1895, but with the audio capability after the innovation of amplifying system, it has become a very popular mass media of entertainment. In 1912, Marconi started to produce radio sets in a factory. However, first radio broadcast was started in October 1920. The innovation of radio has enhanced the scope of mass communication to the audience located at a distant place using wireless technology. The radio emerged as a very dominant form of mass communication and propaganda during the Second World War, and it also got patronage from the government as it proved very useful in the process of governance through broadcast and also in propaganda. Later expansion of radio makes it a medium used for information, education, and entertainment. Television makes mass media communication more powerful and most effective means of communication in the second half of 20th century. Thus, we see continuous development in mass media communication devices with the growth of technology in modern society. This is one of the reasons that these media are called together as modern means of mass communication, which played an important role in social organization of modern industrial society through shaping the public opinion of the masses. One common feature of these mass media is that they transmit message through a medium, that is in form of a printed paper or in audio or video, from a source to the audience located at a distant place. But they lack in getting a feedback from the audience, which is either uh, low or it is delayed. In this sense, they have a kind of one-way traffic of information and have no mechanism to know the impact of the message on audience and their reactions. Even if there are certain mechanisms in the form of letter to the editor or some specific programs on radio and TV, they are delayed responses. In late 60s, some important developments have taken place in systems of communication. The advent of satellite communications marks every bit as a dramatic break with the past. The first satellite communication was launched only just over 40 years ago. Now there are more than 200 such satellites, not 200, maybe 2000 now, satellites above the earth, each carrying a vast range of information. For the first time ever, instantaneous communication is possible from one side of the world to the other. Other types of electronic communication more and more integrated with the satellite transmission and have also accelerated over the past years. So interactive technologies of communication are at the heart of communication revolution that is occurring throughout the world now. The computer and its various applications in satellite and cable television, telecommunications, and the internet are the main driving force of communication revolution taking place today. At this juncture, a new concept has come into existence, and that is the new media. So, this new interactive technologies, communication technologies, they were called new media in comparison to the earlier modern mass media communication, because modern mass media of communication were not interactive. They were just transmitting messages from one end to the other end without having the feedback. So, because of this limitation of mass media communication, the term new media was coined to these new communication interactive technologies, which are based on satellite based transmission, in which you can get immediately the response from the audience. Similarly, for example, when you are sending an email, you may get immediately respond from the person, or maybe that if he is not seeing it immediately, maybe after 1 hour, after 1 day or 2 day, then he can reply. So it depends that how whether it is properly received or not, but possibility is there that immediately you can get the response of the audience. The new media integrates the characteristics of both interpersonal and mass communication. This is one important feature of new media, that it integrates both. It can be used as a means of interpersonal communication. If you want to do interpersonal communication, then you can you can use the appropriate application for that. Even on Facebook, if you don't want to publish, you don't want that everyone should know what you communicated with someone, then it can be, you can, and sometimes you see the messages, oh, please come in inbox. And in box, you can communicate that at interpersonal level. So no one else will know what you are communicating with that particular person in your social network. So this is one thing, that it is interpersonal on the one hand. If you like, you can use it interpersonally. In WhatsApp, you can send personal chat, you can chat a person, you can interact personally. But if you want to spread it among a number of people, so then you can post it in some groups. WhatsApp groups are there, and that also has limitation, that you may not have more than 250 members. So Similar in the similar way that there are uh, certain blogs on internet. There are a lot of the followers. Anyone can read and post on that blog. Blogs are there. Then in Facebook also there are groups and pages where you can post your material for public, and then you can also publish your things on the Facebook wall. Similarly, Twitter is also one of the very popular platform where messages are transmitted, and persons have followers, and a person is more popularity of a person is seen in terms of the followers he or she has on Twitter. So it has become a parameter of the popularity of the people. And sometimes say they have 5 lakh followers, some people have 10 lakh followers, 1 million followers, or some have more than that. So it means that their messages are immediately reached to so many people, and if it is retweeted, then it will multiply. So in this way, this and if it is retweeted, the person who received retweeted message, he can directly communicate either with the person who retweeted or the original person who has initiated that message. So in this way there are so many possibility of interaction, and therefore this is the major distinction between the mass media communication, modern mass media communication, uh, in terms of the radio, television, printing, newspapers, and cinema, that they were having one-way traffic. They can transmit message or picture or audio from one place to another place, but they were not having any mechanism to get back the response. What is the reaction of the audience on this message? Although some audience research was done, some audience studies were conducted to know the impact of these modern mass media communication, and that is a separate topic. I am not going into that. But what is important, that there is a clear-cut distinction and difference between this traditional. Now these are not no more modern. Now they have become traditional in one sense. And some people, academics also, they wrote traditional mass media. So I was thinking that they are talking of about folk media or traditional forms of communication, but when I read further, I found no, they are talking about radio, television, and newspaper. So this type of conceptualization is also there. So the new media are different in the sense that they integrate the characteristics of both interpersonal and mass communication, and communication that occurs through these media often links two individual or a small number of people. In this sense, the new media are like interpersonal communication in that the message are targeted to specific individuals, and that is this process is called demassification. It is not transmitted at mass level but at individual level. But interactive communication through the new media is somewhat like mass media communication in that hardware equipment is necessary involved. Uh, Even if you are making interpersonal communication, you are using some hardware, some device, electronic device is must. Without that, you cannot do. Whether it is mobile phone or your laptop or your desktop or your tablet or any other equipment which you are using for this purpose. Information exchange via the new media is interactive, meaning that the participants in a communication process have control over and can exchange his role in their mutual discourse. So, audience and receivers may change during the course of interaction. So this is in this way it is more effective than earlier modern mass media. Another important technological efficiency of these new media is the hypertext. Hypertext means that you can use print words in transmitting message. You can have an audio clip, and you see in WhatsApp some people send audio clips, audio messages, and video and pictures. And you can on the same page, that is on the web page, you can have all these forms of media, and that is called hypertext. Hypertext means which have all these, a combination of different media formats. So in on a website page, it is not just printing, but you will find some hyperlinks. You can connect with other websites. You can have some audio clips. You can have some video clips. You can have some documents in PDF format or some other format, and then you can read these formats, these contents on that website. Then another important characteristic of this media was that it is also called multimedia. Multimedia means that all forms of media are integrated in one. For example, in mobile phone now you have all kind of facilities. You can read newspaper. On website also you can read newspaper of any newspaper. Online newspapers are available. Then you can listen radio. You can see the videos. You can see movies. So all kind of media are now integrated into one and through one device. If you have a desktop, you can do many things with that. For entertainment, you can listen songs, you can see video songs, you can see movies, anything you can do, and that is one single device. It all kind of media you can operate in that, and that's why it is also called multimedia. Another difference is when another term which is in very common, that is we call digital media, and we are digitalization is taking place. So what is digitalization or what is digital media? Digital media is based on computer technology. When you are transmitting a message, the signals are converted, codified into computer bits. And you know that it is binary, computer is binary, it reads only two, 0 and 1. So it is signals are converted into computer bytes, and from there it is transmitted. Again, these are converted into radio waves, and so that when you receive the same voice which was transmitted. So this is digital technology, and earlier we were using radio technology, whether it is television or radio. The radio technology through wireless, that was transmitted through certain electronic waves. And if you are on television, they are using FM, frequency modulation, that is lower rate, and in FM transmission within a range, a distance, the voice is very clear because of a smooth flow of the waves of the frequency modulation. Then we were having radios, and in radios we were having different bands like medium wave, short wave, like that, short wave 1, short wave 2, short wave 3, short wave 4. So there were bands in that, uh, and it was that is on hertz, through hertz wave, these were transmitted, and that is the scientific terms I am using. So through these waves, radio waves, messages were transmitted, and these were received through the radio set. And television also used the same technology, but frequency modulation was different. In case of television, the FM waves were used in that. So that was an advancement from earlier one. And the further advancement was digitalization of the media. Now we have shifted totally on digital media. So these are certain technological things which I wanted to clarify. Now I come on what is social media. The term social media today is an important term used to connote certain media come into existence in last 1 or 2 decades, and it is based on web technology. This is another important technological development, that is web technology. And internet, through internet, what is it? If you want to communicate through internet, what is required? A website is required. And when you see the address of any website, it will start, there are two terms, HTTP, then www. HTTP means that HTML, that is hypertext, is used in a website page. And earlier, now it is not coming that in Office there was one application in which you can create this hypertext, HTML format, that is called. So that is technological things. So what is important in address of any website is www, and this www is World Wide Web. So World Wide Web means that it is global, in the sense that it can be accessed from any part of the planet through internet. So this website is a page which is on net, online, and it can be accessed from anywhere. So this web technology, and this is called web technology. If you want to, if you have an organization then, and you want to conduct online things through internet, then what you have to do? You have to open a website. Then there are certain service providers who can give you some space on their servers, and then you can open a website. So this is it is based on web technology, particularly use of Web 2.0 technology. Initially, it was simply a web technology, but there were certain advancements in web technology also, and the recent technology is known as Web 2.0. And Web 2.0 has the following as the main characteristic, that is radical decentralization, radical trust, participation instead of publishing, users as contributors, rich user experience, the long tail, the web as platform, control of one's own data, remixing data, collective intelligence, attitudes, better software by more users, play, undetermined user behavior. These are certain advanced features of Web 2.0, and this makes the applications very advanced. And you know that WhatsApp, which emerged in last 1 decade only, it is very advanced application, and you can do anything with that. You can send your documents, you can post videos, you can post your audio clips, you can share anything with in the group or with the person, and you can also make calls through internet. So all kind of things. So it has tremendous capacity now, which were not existing in earlier web applications. Social media indicate a shift from HTML based linking practices to a open web to liking and recommendations, which happen inside closed systems. Web 2.0 has three distinguished features. It is easy to use, it facilitates sociality, and it provides users with free publishing and production platforms that allow them to upload content in any form, be it picture, video, or text. So it has content of sociality, means without Web 2.0 technology, we cannot think of the social media. So social media emerged only when the HTML based technology linking practices were stopped and Web 2.0 technology was introduced and used in applications like WhatsApp. Even now Facebook is also doing, in Messenger you can also make a call, or you can send the documents, the same function which WhatsApp are having. There are some many other applications. I am not going in detail of that. But what is important is only because of Web 2.0 technology, we were able to introduce sociality in this new media or new communication. We can say that is very new and latest communication technology. And you know that now, although it is possible to have to know that what messages were uh, in case of certain crimes, if police wants, they can know that deleted messages can also be recovered, and it has been done recently in some cases, in case of Sushant Singh Rajput and other cases. So this can be recovered only for, so it is never deleted. It shows deleted but never deleted. And you know, when you update your WhatsApp, your earlier, if these are saved somewhere online, these are recovered, and that's why your account, phone account is very important. If you have Samsung phone, then Samsung account, they have backup of your chats and everything. It means that that data is existing in some cyberspace. It is not deleted. Although it is deleted from your device, but in cyberspace it is existing, has been uploaded in cyberspace, and that will never delete it. Although access may not be there, or you cannot have access, but if somebody has technology to access that, they can access it. So it is very safe, but also same time very uh, dangerous. Media are techno-social systems in which information and communication technologies enable and constrain human activities that create knowledge that is produced, distributed, and consumed with the help of technologies in a dynamic and reflexive process, and connects technological structures and human agency. The internet consists of both a technological infrastructure and interacting humans. It is not a network of computer network, but a network that interconnects social network and technological networks of computer network. Thus, internet consists of a technological system and a social subsystem that both have a networked character. Together, these two parts form a techno-social system. So this is why we call it social media. So it has two parts: one technological network, that is network of computers through which message uh, disseminate, but also a social network is also there in the form of your friends or your contacts. So that is your social network, that is social part of that, and therefore this has two parts, form a techno social system. There are a number of factors which determine popularity or selection of a social media in a particular type of society. If it is a democratic society, people used to express themselves freely through the social media like Facebook. But in a conservative and monarchical society, people use those networking sites which are secured and maintain strictly their privacy, like Snapchat and Instagram, etc. In a society like India, people use many platforms like Twitter for short messages and sharing their photo, video, Facebook for widespread multi-directional communication with friends, followers and public, Messenger, WhatsApp for personal communication and so on. Thus we can say that social media is used in different ways in different by different people in different societies depending upon their personal communication needs, ideological orientations, political systems, which has a bearing on their behavior and their educational, occupational, and class background. So these are some of the important features of new media, or what we are calling the new media include HTML practices as well as Web 2.0 practices. Both are new media. But social media is new media, but it is an advanced level of new media which permits a kind of sociality. Means you can use this for communication. You make a call, you can a video call, you can an audio call, you can send message, you can send pictures, and you can make it at personal level. You can also make a group, and you can also have a group call. There are other formats like Skype were also there. So there are so many applications which are existing in the new media. With this conceptual clarification, which is very much required, because many people use social media, but conceptually they are not aware what actually is new media. So first we have to make a distinction between the modern mass media communication, which is now a thing of past, and now we shifted to new media. And new media also we have two part. One is web technology when it was introduced, those HTML practices. Then HTML format is now outdated format, and now Web 2.0 platform have emerged, and which facilitate more functions, more sociality, and as a result now we are having more interaction through our mobile phone. And if you have a mobile phone, it is like a computer, and you can make so many functions, uh, your bank transactions, your calls, your you can read newspaper, anything you can do in a mobile phone, and also on laptop also you can do that. So now these computer based technologies have changed the life of the people. Social and cultural milieu is transforming at a very rapid rate and this rapid change has changed everything, and this is such at a fast pace that you can see the change yourself in your life, that things are changing within years, or you can say within, if you are using Facebook uh, for last few years, you will see that in Facebook also so many changes have taken place. Earlier it was just people were chatting, sending message, text messages, and sometimes they were posting there some pics. But now today, people are sending more video clips. So video clips, and now all the uh, main communication channels like TV channels, they are also posting small clips on Facebook. So most of the news now you can get what is latest through Facebook. So no need to read newspaper or to see, because they know that people are most of the time busy on Facebook. So they have not time to tune their television set and see their TV channel. Although some people see television also, but now, so they have adopted a strategy. They started posting video clips. In last 1 year, you will find this trend has changed on the Facebook, that TV channels have come, and now freely you can see, if you have Airtel connection or any other, freely you can see on mobile. On mobile, most of the uh, television channels are telecasted free of cost. So, because they want that they should have reachability to the audience. If they are not have reachability, so there is no point in transmitting the message. If nobody, and this TRP business is also there, that how many people are watching you, and on the basis of that they are getting revenue through advertisement. So they do not depend on what you are paying as a rent, but on the TRP basis, the businessmen, industries, they give their advertisements that we will give in those, and they will try that their ads come, their commercial come in most popular programs, so that maximum audience can see their advertisement. So it is not a very simple thing. It is a very complex process of economy, entertainment, politics, and social and cultural life. Now I will come on the major part of my talk, and that is social media and social movement. Yesterday we discussed that how new communication technologies are playing an important part in mobilizing, in transnational mobilization. Today I will further elaborate that point, that what is the role of social media. Now I am pinpointing not all, but social media. Social media matters a lot, for that the same way national news broadcast mattered a lot in the 1960s. In 1960s, the radio broadcast was very meaningful. There was no other source except radio. In newspaper, you will get late. If it is a news, then it will be collected, it will be written in the format, then in the night they will print it, and in the morning you will get the information through newspaper. So what happened today, you have no way to get the information immediately, but delayed, that is after one day, next morning when you will get newspaper, you will see what happened where. So this is that's why newspaper is very important, and the first task then in Western society was early in the morning. The first thing the people want to do to read newspaper. So reading a newspaper is task early in the morning. Just you get up with a cup of tea. Persons want to see the newspaper headlines at least. What are the headlines? What happened? What are the important news? But radio has made this process a little faster, and the news were broadcasted uh, at a almost immediately, and that changes how many people are willing to participate in a protest movement. A study by the University of Pennsylvania Annenberg School for Communication points to two significant groups in a social protest, and these two groups are: number one, a core group and a periphery group. Core group and periphery group. Core group are the users on the street actively protesting and spreading their messages. Core group are those who are actually protesting on the street or at some place, and then they are also using certain technology to disseminate that information in form of video, in form of messages, in form of reports on media. And the other group is peripheral group. The periphery are low commitment participants echoing and sharing that message through various social media. So on social media, you are not actively participating in the protest, but you are supporting by liking it, by sharing it, by making comments in support of that, and that is the peripheral uh, group. So peripheral group is very large, in fact. For Kelsey Kratschmer, an associate professor of sociology at Oregon State University, she feels that this form of activism has its benefits, coming down on the side of what is known as the strength of weak ties, which argues that information is most mobilizing when it is coming from acquaintances or a stranger with a common communal background as opposed to a friend, family member, or loved one. The from very close circle, you cannot have much information, limited information only. But through your social network, which is very wide in nature, its range may go anywhere in the world, or some people of acquaintance. On Facebook, if somebody has posted and he has a common friend, and if that is for the public uh, news feed, then it will come on your wall also, and you will also get message, that message. And if it appeals you because it is coming from some common friend, mutual friend tie, so then if you are getting more and more such messages which are not directly coming from your context but from friends of friends. There is one very important work by Boziman, Friends of Friends. So that is the strength. That tie is weak. You don't know that person. That is virtually you never met that person. But his post and messages are coming on your wall. If you see a lot of people online on your social media feed showing up for a protest, you are also more likely to show up for a protest because you feel like this is what your network is doing. If people in your network are engaged in any kind of narrative, online narrative in support or in opposing a uh, uh, sorry. Yes, if many people in your social network are supporting or opposing a protest, then naturally you will also will have some opinion on that, and you will also like to participate in that narrative, and that can be really valuable. The best predictor of who shows up to protests are the people who were invited, the people who get asked or pressured into going. With social media, that increases the kinds of ways that people can get invited to a protest, even if it is indirectly. So it may not be direct, but you may get you that invitation to the protest indirectly. If you are willing, you can go and participate, and you can enter into the core group of that. So this is how the support is mobilized through social media. Social media can be seen as a tool which works by capitalizing on real life or offline networks that are already mobilizing. In recent protests, including the Arab Spring, the Umbrella Revolution in Hong Kong, Me Too, Black Lives Matters, and others, social media has played a key role in amplifying their respective messages, even though each movement arose from very different circumstances and environments. The power of images communicates needs in a new way. The social media's impact right now can be viewed much like the impact of television during the civil rights movements. You can see the threats of that happening still. George Floyd's death matters to more people because there was footage of it happening, and it is much different than reading an account in a newspaper. So social media matters a lot for that, the same way national news broadcast mattered a lot in 1960s, and that changes how many people are willing to participate. The importance of social network sites has grown so swiftly that they have become one of the tools of the social and political movements. Major mass demonstrations of the population were organized by mobilizing via social media, and thereafter showed their strength with the massive presence of people on the street. So we see so many examples of that, that how social media was used for mobilizing the people, particularly 2010 onwards, and this was the time when Web 2.0 technology emerged, and Twitter and the WhatsApp and Facebook also transformed a lot during that period, and these platforms played an important role in mobilizing the people in social movements. There are three important conceptualization regarding the role of social media in social movements, and these three perspectives we call: first is techno optimism, second is techno pessimism, and third is techno ambivalence. So I will briefly discuss these three perspectives. What is techno optimism? Techno optimism refers to those approaches that emphasize the potential of social media technologies to solve social problems. So, optimism is that people are, or the scholars are, quite optimistic about the use of social media for in solving social problems. The scale of such problems varies greatly, including both global issues such as climate change as well as problems that are proportionally more modest such as fostering engagement in a democratic process. Techno optimists do not fail to acknowledge the challenges faced by social media but do find in such emerging technologies evidence for new social change and optimism. So it is maybe various issues, various problems, global issues like climate change, or maybe some local issues or of national importance. Then there may be different issues which can be uh, seen on social media. Different narratives are going on, and you will find uh, different types of narratives. Uh, you will find Dalit narratives also. You find leftist narrative. You will find on social media Hindutva narratives, and they will post continuously. If you like one post, then you will get so many posts of that type on your Facebook page in uh, future. So they will think, oh, you support this, and they will start posting you this type of things. So this is the one trend in Facebook, that they are now very selective. So they are not allowing all the posts of your friends on your wall, but only selective messages on which you have put likes or commented in past few days. And then if you have not like post of somebody for a longer period, you will find that his posts become are disappeared from your wall. They will not allow that post, or they will system will automatically exclude that post from your wall. So this type of the software they have now using to control the traffic, but this is not fair. Maybe I may not like some post of my friend due to some reason, but it does not mean that you exclude that friend from my wall. Anyway, one of the strongest statement in favor of the power of social media for social movements is found in Manuel Castells' work, Networks of Outrage and Hope, Social Movements in the Internet Age, published in 2012. So very specific book on this topic is published by one of the famous sociologists, Manuel Castells, and I discussed length from his work, The Power of Identity, about the role of new communication technologies in social movements. So he has written another book in 2012, and he has studied the role of social media in social movements in this important work. For Castells, the use of Twitter and Facebook as tools for political upheaval serves as confirmation of theoretical principles that he presents in his three-volume set, The Information Age, Economy, Society and Culture. And what he has presented in his earlier work, which is published in 3 volumes, in a series, 3 volume series, The Information Age, Economy, Society and Culture. And these 3 volumes were published in 1996, 97 and 98. So he found that what he has written at the time, this thing happens later on, and in his another book he has written on the role of social media and social movements. He argues that as the information age develops, which he alternative refers to as network society or informational society, the real power is now in the hands of the programmers and switchers, those who make connections. He is referring to both technology professionals and those who metaphorically act as programmers and switchers of social institutions and social movements. So programmers may be software programmers, but also maybe those who are launching some social movement or certain social institution. They may also be programmers. And you know that what I was discussing about Facebook, he has said that they are controlling the flow of information. Castell's theory of network society from uh, from the information age not only predates the advent of social media but also predicts it. In a society based on information and networking, social media is the logical form of communication. However, even Castell's insist on need for real world connection and collaboration of social movements. But you cannot run social movement on social media. You have to do in real. Particularly in the form that he calls occupied space, referring to squares and parks in which protesters gather, organize, and take action. So, what is the occupied space? Occupied space means the place where the protest is taking place. So, in case of the farmers' movement, it may be Gazipur, it may be Singhu border or Tikri border. These are the occupied space where real things are happening. Nevertheless, Castells is an optimist about the transformational power that social movements have when cyber activism leads to and complements street activism. So this is he has analyzed at a length, and he is quite optimistic that social media is very natural choice in network society or informational society, which can which has to play an important role in mobilizing the masses for social movement. The second approach is techno pessimism. It characterizes the work of those who consider the promises of social media to be hyperbolic and superficial. The changes may, in some instances, produce new relationship of power, which is of interest even to techno-pessimists, though the summary diagnosis remain one of suspicion. Techno-pessimists basically see in social media an impressive patina that in actuality does little to fundamentally transform the way that human beings relate to each other in real world. The relationship between technology and activism, uh, Gladwell review and evokes the work of sociologist Mark Granovetter, and he says that weak ties seldom lead to high risk activism, and for that the strong ties are used when you are uh, participating in a protest movement. Then I'm not going in detail because paucity of time. Then third approach is techno ambivalence. Techno ambivalence. All researchers acknowledge some degree of ambiguity regarding social media. It is, after all, an area attracting attention due in part of its current state of ongoing negotiation. Techno ambivalence researchers, however, are those who fall most explicitly in the middle of the spectrum. Techno ambivalence is characterized by the willingness to make claims of newness and hence possibility, but to position such claims within a serious assessment of the limitations sometimes deemed quite critical of such technology. So, the ambivalence, techno ambivalence sociologist, they say that uh, we should not neither very optimistic nor very pessimistic. So we should maintain balance. Social media can play important role, but it is not that only social media can do everything, and for that, we have to see its limitations and a critical assessment of the role of social media in social movement. So I will stop here because only 10 minutes left, and we can go for question answer during this period.
Thank you, sir, for such a wonderful deliberation. Dear fellow participants, if you have any queries or doubt, then the floor is open for discussion. Thank you.
Yes, Dr. Bage.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, any question?
Hello, sir. I'm Yudana Vidya from Sikkim. So, sir, my question is like, is this social media have there is ongoing protest in the farmers at Delhi. So my question is like, does social media affect the course of the social movement in a negative way?
Social media is?
Like I'm saying, like whenever there is a social movement, there is a coverage by the media or social media. So my question is like, does the social media affect the course of the social movement in a negative way?
No, no, no. It is not negative because any media is not value loaded. It is a technology. This is how it is used. So it can be used for the mobilization of the masses uh, during the social movement. But it is not that the access to social media is only to the protesters. The others, the government and their supporters also have access. So there will be counter narrative of that. There may be negation of that. There may be criticism of that. So then a discourse will start on social media in support. And social medias are interactive media. So interaction will take place. And during that discourse, the persons may form their opinion either in support of that or they can oppose it. If they feel, majority of the people feel that this movement is not worth, it is not, they will not support. But if they think no, it is genuine, you see, in case of the farmers movement, earlier people were supporting it like anything. Majority of the people were supporting for the cause of farmers. But after 26 January incident at Red Fort, I think most of the social media personals have lost their faith in that movement. And that was the turning point for this movement, that it miserably failed. That was the only, because nothing can be done at the cost of nation. So whether it is farmer or labor or any class in the country, so people feel that this is not in favor of the nation. So although their demands are genuine, but people are not supporting it. And moreover, it is not support of all the farmers throughout the country. Only some selected section of the farmers who were benefited by MSP, only they are doing. And there are other issues like of the mediators, that in alone Punjab, they were purchasing wheat from Bihar and selling it on MSP in Punjab. So there they were purchasing at a low cost than MSP and making profit. So some traders were there who were also involved in this process. So this is how we can see that it is not that it is always negative. Social media is negative.
Okay, sir.
It may be positive also.
Okay, like sir, most of the time we tend to get that manipulative news.
Somebody
That's
else
why I'm asking.
also asked a question. It appears on the screen. Can you please ask it now?
So chat box, I haven't seen any question there, sir.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
So this is Vishal and I am from Darjeeling. So last year during the COVID period lockdown, I read one article, okay, where it was said more the person is exposed to